Hello everyone and welcome back to PSGL here for round 7 of season 30 here in F6 on the PlayStation side of PSGL. Had plenty of issues trying to get into the stream today. Issues with the streaming, then issues with the lobby. It all sort of went wrong, so we are arriving very late, so sincere apologies for that. We're of course missed all the qualifying, we missed the start, we're just now on lap 3 of the race. However, we will now get to see the important bit. We still get to see the racing and the battle for the win here at the Saudi Arabia circuit, the Jeddah circuit, which of course held its inaugural Formula 1 race in 2021. Quite an exciting one in real life. I think whether you enjoyed it or not probably depends on which driver you supported back then, but we're here for, of course, F6 and PSGL for hopefully an exciting race, and so far it is lap 3. There's been quite a lot of moving throughout the field, but at the moment Fruitful does continue to lead the way from pole position. Ischik in second with Kart Racer, the championship leader, in third so far. Quite a close few cars here. As now we see Ischik making the move for the lead of the race into the final corner, the end of that DRS zone. First time we've seen that DRS zone in use in this race. Not only because it's the first lap we've seen, but also because it is the first time that DRS zone has been available. But look at this, they're racing 3 wide briefly for the lead. Fruitful got overtaken into the final corner, is going to repass Ischik and get back into the lead, and Kart Racer gets past Ischik as well there. So perhaps making a mistake by making that overtake when they did for the Rebel driver, as now Kart Racer gets ahead of them and they overall lose a net position, which of course is the wrong direction to be going in. As quite a few drivers have had issues at the start of this race. If you look over at the timing tower, you'll see down lower in the field quite a lot of drivers have lost some significant amount of positions. Mikkel Lutzi is way back off the pack. Jake Marsh also dropped 5 positions. Then you've got Van der Brugge lost 7, Yarrow lost 4, Sparks lost 10. Cameron did hold position, but it looks like they have had some troubles because they have fallen way behind the pack here. Yes, it would appear the lead group at the moment is all the way from 1st down to 7th as things stand. So these will be the drivers to watch battling for the winners. Kart Racer now is going to make the move for the lead of the race to the outside of the final corner. You really don't want to have the lead coming out of that corner, or at least going into the corner, because then you won't have DRS. And on this lap, it will be Kart Racer who doesn't have the DRS. That's the position this Ischik was in last lap, and it cost him 2 positions. Will the same happen this lap? Kart Racer is going to get passed by Fruitful into turn 1. No, Fruitful backs out of the move there. Thinks better of it, and will let Kart Racer have the lead of the race. The driver who is dominant in the championship so far, leading this one. We've got our first retirement. Davey has decided to retire from this race. Perhaps some issues there. Didn't look like their race was completely over. The safety car or something. Maybe they could get back in the fight, but now certainly out of this one. Kart Racer actually pulling away quite a bit out front here, really showing that he's got a lot of pace, and perhaps making Fruitful regret not making that move into turn 1. But I mean, if Kart Racer can break DRS here, that would be an insane showing of speed, and it wouldn't be a new showing of speed after some of the drives that Kart Racer have done this season. But especially around here, I'm sure Fruitful will be pushing all they can to get back in that DRS zone. You can see how much DRS they're having to use here, and they will hold on to the DRS crucially for this lap. Maybe this time they'll think better of it and go for the move into turn 1. It seems like that's a pretty important position to be in, because I mean, Kart Racer has got some very good pace out front, and you can't let him get away, because the second that DRS is broken, I fear that that may well be Kart Racer's win to lose. For Fruitful, it'll stay close on this lap, but still 4 tenths behind the McLaren driver out front. Ischik in third, also perhaps having some troubles here with keeping up, but has got a lot more battery to deploy. Kart Racer out front with 52% battery. Then we've got in second Fruitful 10%, or 12% less. And then with 47% more than the driver in front of them, and that is Ischike, with a lot of extra deployment available to them if they so choose to use it. But at this stage of the race, you probably want that extra little bit of energy, just to have it reserved for later in the race. And I'm using it very sparingly at the moment, but they're keeping up with the top two, so maybe Ischike here showing some strong pace as well. Perhaps even pace good enough to keep with Kart Racer. I think they may well be tempted to make the move on Fruitful here to try and get up in to second place. It's very close. They fly through these couple of corners throughout this entire section. You see these drivers and the cars on the absolute limit of grip. It's a very high-speed circuit here. Brought actually a lot of fears for safety in real life. Of course, luckily no one was, well, at least no one in Formula 1 was injured. Of course, there was that scary crash in F2 on the start. But yes, in a virtual world, it's a very cool track to watch because there is no fear of safety. It is just pure speed. And that's what we love to see in Fruitful on this lap, looking much better, keeping up with Kart Racer. Maybe it was a mistake on that last lap that allowed that gap to grow a little bit, but still Ischike looking perhaps the strongest of the top three at the moment. Lynx and Jonah still very much here. Same goes for the Aston Martin in 6th place, and Bottle in 7th, just about hanging on, but then you can see that massive gap to the cars behind. Let's have a look at what tyres everyone is on. Trasmike on the mediums, perhaps unsurprisingly, has lost the slipstream to the top cars. That lack of grip will not be helping. However, of course, did start quite a bit further back. They're still an impressive drive so far to be up where they are. But they've got an Aston Martin pressuring them at the moment of Chazza, looking to try and take that position away. But this group looks to be falling out of contention for the win, but definitely still in the contention for points, which is always important here. So he's all going to be fighting hard for these positions, even if it isn't for the top step of the podium. But out front, Kart Racer with a half a second lead. Already can see Lynx with a penalty. Probably going to be a track that's quite easy to get penalties on. So see how close Ischike and Fruitful are here. Is Ischike going to go for the move? You can see they're deploying all their ERS. They're going to go to the outside of the final corner as Micheluzzi leaves the session. But look at this, they're side by side into the final corner. Ischike trying to make this move stick. Little bit of a wiggle there from Fruitful when getting the power down. Now Kart Racer has to pick and choose who is he going to give the slipstream to. Ischike's going to pull ahead of the Ferrari. Is he going to get clear though? He just about is by the looks of things. But look how close it is there for the top three. Really, I mean the top entire train. Bottle, sadly, looks to have lost the DRS, but can get back in because that pack is really bunched up with the battle up front. So some important racing going on here. But Kart Racer leading the way so far in this position that they've been most of this season. Ischike running in second. Very impressive overtake to be able to make that one where they did. So good work there from Ischike. When the car ahead has the DRS, it is so much harder to make that overtake because it has to be on raw speed. It can't be with the edge of DRS because you both have it. And that is, well, obviously going to make pretty big of a difference. See these cars flying through here. Roar of the engines in this tight and twisty street circuit. As you do have a yellow flag further back in the pack, I believe that is Van der Broek who has gone around. Looks like they've got away without any major damage. Both end plates on the car, but doesn't mean there could be perhaps some damage that we can't see. But I was about to say, it sort of surprised me, we've already seen 2 retirements so far today. As we have a battle going on here for P9, but equally got a battle for the lead here. As Ischike is going to take it away from Kart Racer as the first group of cars pit. The top 3 will stay out though. And there's been another change for the leaders. Kart Racer makes a mistake, an uncharacteristic mistake. Fruitful is going to have the chance here to challenge Kart Racer as they go into the first few S-bends of the lap. The entire track is almost one big S section really when you look at it, but this is the real start of it, with that chicane being one of the few, if only, hard braking zones of the lap. But of course we've got lots of cars pitting, and lots of cars battling here as this pack of cars that started on the mediums, all in this scrap for now 4th position because of those leaders pitting. Perhaps a risky strategy from the leaders, depends how powerful the undercut is here. Because we've seen this joke has got some incredible pace out front and is already breaking DRS to Kart Racer. Kart Racer now is going to have to push all they can to try and get back within that gap. They're only a 10th out, and they get a 3-second time penalty, and they spin! Kart Racer spins going through the S section, backwards into the wall. Will keep the car going, but that's going to be a lot of time thrown away for Kart Racer. Your championship leader makes a very rare error, and will drop more time to their rivals. And now, if they do indeed pit this lap, they could lose a lot of time. All that entire DRS strength could well be clear of them now for Kart Racer. 7 seconds off the leader could make a big difference in this race, and this Jake has been given a crucial opportunity to pull away out front here. 2.2 seconds is the gap to Fruitful. Will they pit on this lap? This Jake now finally with some clear air. Looks like they're going to stay out. What about Fruitful? Has to try something different to try and get back in the slipstream of Ishjike. Will go for the undercut. Now losing more time, of course, as they return into the pit lane. The first of the drivers who are on the fresh set of medium tyres is Lynx, who comes out of the final corner now. You can see they're already pretty close to the pack of cars to start on the medium tyres. That just shows the pace difference here in this race. But how far back is Fruitful going to drop here? Of course, those cars leading the pits will cut through turns 1 and 2, exit the pits at a much higher speed, maybe get a couple of those positions back. Will they come out on this DRS train? It looks like they're going to. That is a powerful undercut, though, from that group of cars. Of course, we know Fruitful lost a couple seconds there. However, still, that is a big gain in time for Lynx, Jonah, and the rest of this train, and could potentially reel in Ishjike for the lead of the race as Ishjike stays out for yet another lap. You can see Lynx pushing hard to try and make this undercut work. Currently 2 temps up on their personal best lap as Sparks gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings there. Starting to see these penalties rolling in as we've got yellow flags on the racetrack. Who is that for? It's for an AlphaTauri further back in the pack. It's a Sparks, just got his 3-second time penalty now, makes a mistake. Not happy with himself there, similar to Kart Racer, almost in reaction to getting that 3-second time penalty. The sheer anger just forced them into a mistake, and that's what happens then. They're in the wall, almost wall riding through there. But you can see their Sparks not happy with the mistake they made there. An easy one to make, of course, but we see now battling throughout the field as this is Rafa on the back of Trasmike, gonna go side by side through this long penultimate corner now. Into the final corner they go, on the hard of the brakes. Will Ishjike pit? No, Ishjike has stayed out again. Go for the first chicane now, and this entire pack is going to close up. Ishjike probably making the correct decision here, because his best chance... Oh, is Sparks retires from the session. That is a crash there for the AlphaTauri on the racetrack, and yes, that is a pretty big hit there into the barriers. And that is most likely, well, it is his day done, but it looks like somehow it's going to stay green. No safety car, only a yellow flag in that local area. That is a surprising situation. That AlphaTauri not exactly in a safe location, but nonetheless we will stay green here. And as I was saying, Ishjike now in a position in this race that they have definitely lost the advantage on strategy at the moment. If Ishjike pitted now, I have to assume he'd come out behind those cars that have pitted earlier. However, you'll notice now that pack of cars has caught up to the drivers that are already on at the start of the medium tyres and are yet to pit, who have a much slower pace, because of course old medium tyres compared to fresh medium tyres, which could give Ishjike the chance to pull out that lead once more and try and make something happen. We see battle going on here side by side through this section, and it is the S1 that gets ahead here of Jonah. Flying into this trick corner. We saw quite a few crashes there in real life. All these guys keeping it clean though. As we see a look at that, Fruitful trying to recover in this race after losing that time in the pits. As Ishjike now does pit on this lap. Perhaps having some tyre worries as they come in now, as they're continuing to battle here. They're going to lose the DRS, which is such a crucial thing to have at this circuit. If they don't stop battling, if they continue to battle like that, they are going to lose a lot of time. But Ishjike in the pits and now will be exiting. What will the gap be? You're going to see him lose his positions now. Have a little cut turns 1 and 2. Nice and short, but will be behind, crucially, behind Lynx, and only just ahead of Fruitful. So Ishjike had a chance here to really have a nice little lead out front, but that chance has been taken away. As Ishjike now finds himself behind Fruitful, one of the first to pit. And behind Lynx, one of the first to pit, and just ahead of Fruitful, who undercut him by just a lap there. So, Ishjike trying something different. I don't know how high the tyre wear is here. It's a new track. It's one of these things that we just have to sort of learn as we see these new tracks. If it's a high tyre wear track, then I think Ishjike very much in the right place here. with those fresher medium tyres can make a big difference come the end of the race. However, it's quite a low tyre wear track. Istrike may well have cost himself a slight chance at a decent sized lead, but now all of them are having to clear these slower cars that are yet to pit in this race. Istrike almost pushing the Williams through this part of the lap. Just can't lose the top two. Luckily for Istrike, as Yagazan is holding up Lynx just ahead, so got that little buffer between them whilst he's getting held up so is leader. As look at this battling coming through the final corner. Yagazan is going to lose the lead of the race. Istrike is going to gain some positions as well here. They're all swapping around through these final few corners. As down the inside goes Istrike on the Mercedes of Yagazan. Yagazan is going to be stuck on the outside here, and will they want to pit? Doesn't look like it, so they are going to stay out. As into the pits does come a Williams there of Rafa, who will pit on this lap. Istrike now. Will they go for the lead of the race? Yes, they will. Going to go up the inside of turn one, get past Lynx, but goes a little bit deep. That could allow Lynx to gain a bit of time. Oh, but Lynx goes wide. That's going to allow Yagazan into the fight. Yagazan now on those older tyres, not going to be able to make anything happen there. Fruitful will want to get past the Mercedes ahead of them, because well, that older medium tyre on the Mercedes of Yagazan is not going to provide the grip that they need. Just following through this part of the lap, you can see it does not look nice, as you can see the difference in pace. Yagazan making a small mistake, but Lynx goes off the road and gets a 3-second time penalty. With the field places close as it has been at times, that could cost Lynx a lot of positions here. But speaking of costing them a lot of positions, Yagazan not doing Fruitful any favours here. Of course, Yagazan fully in their right to hold this position, and to be fair to them, are still holding on to the DRS, as there has been an incident behind, or has there? I think that may have just been a glitch yellow flag there. But Yagazan just about holding on to DRS at the moment, which is good news for Fruitful, because it's losing a little bit less time to the top two, but Lynx still very much staying with Istrike. And I suppose now that Lynx has got that penalty, a little bit less to lose. You know, you've been reset back to effectively 0 warnings. Of course, you have that 3-second penalty, but now you've got another 3 warnings for another 3-second penalty. Lynx is going to make the move for the lead of the race into the final corner. Great move from the Ferrari driver, but will go a little bit wide, narrowly keeps it out of the barriers at all there. Istrike going to have to try and make this move back down towards turn one now, as into the pits comes Yagazan. Istrike going to look to the inside towards turn one. Lynx going to lose the lead once again, and the Rebel finds its way to the front of the field with the Aston Martin in fourth, Bottle in fifth, Kart Racer 3 seconds off this lead group in sixth position. Really has hurt their race here by that mistake, and that 3-second penalty all came in one go, and it all went wrong in one go. Kart Racer going to lose some points today unless there is some sort of safety car intervention. But yes, the championship leader is going to lose some points today, but luckily for him, he has a lot of points that he can sit back on in the championship fight. So Kart Racer will be fairly safe, can take a couple of results like this. I say he could probably do the rest of the season with results like this, given the buffer they've put up already, but still, Kart Racer will be disappointed. You know, they want to try and have the best season possible, and mistakes like that won't help that much. So Kart Racer on course at the moment to only get their second race off of the podium this season. Of course, their worst finish so far this season came last week with a P4, which is, we'd say that's their worst finish of the season, but that is the case. Every other race has been third or first, of course 4 of those races being in first place. Kart Racer now running in sixth, looking pretty set in that position, but not currently really going to be able to do much from their big gap behind. Only a small gap in front, but the DRS train of the top 5 is not going to make life easy. Istrike leads the way. Lynx in second place. Lynx is going to go to the outside here. Opens DRS there. It's a strange situation. Doesn't look like he wants to lead. Going to back out on the outside. And this sort of careful driving, this pleasure with leading the race, I suppose you could call it, it's allowing Kart Racer to reel these guys back in. As there's a swap of position, Fruitful is going to be let through by Lynx there, crucially for this race win. I think Ferrari perhaps some team orders, allowing Fruitful to get up into second place. Lynx dropping to third, as now the Aston Martin gets a penalty as well. It's seeming like a lot of drivers are suffering this issue with penalties, but of course it is a track with tarmac runoff areas, so you know it's easy to go off of them. So you have a yellow flag, and I believe that is Cameron, who's retiring in the pit lane. Istrike leading the way at the moment. 6/10 is the gap to second place. Fruitful doing all they can now. They've been given this chance by the teammate to battle for the lead, but at the moment not right on the back of the Red Bull. But of course it is a hard track to be right on the back of anyone. This very high speed nature to the layout means that dirty air probably isn't the nicest. However, Fruitful doing a good job to slightly reel in that gap now, and DRS enabled. We'll have a great opportunity to reel in the race leader. Link's going to be more of a defensive driver now until the end of the race, trying to separate his teammate and the rivals behind. Fruitful will stay behind on this occasion into the final corner. Maybe thinking about the move into turn 1. That does seem like the best place to go for the move if you want to do it. Because of course you then give your rival dirty air for the rest of the lap, and that is what Fruitful is going to do, taking the lead here on lap 16 and moving up front of the field here in Jeddah. Great move. Always deep in the background. Lynx looks like they made a mistake, and they get another freezing time penalty, losing more time here to the drivers ahead. Lynx gonna let through the Aston Martin, perhaps know that they made a mistake there, perhaps a legal overtake involved, but that could be costly for the pair of them. And Kart Racer is reeling in this group. Look at that, the time they're gaining. It's been about a second over the last lap or two that Kart Racer has gained. However, this pack starting to slightly spread out towards the rear. The gaps were about 3-4 tenths between each car. Now it's becoming more 5-6-7 tenths between each car, as Jake Marsh sets the fastest lap of the race for the Williams team. Jake Marsh, a driver who I know likes this track, and there comes a 3-second time penalty with multiple warnings. But he is not a good race there, but does get fastest lap, which is some consolation, I suppose. I imagine a lot of those drivers who have had issues in this race will now be looking to go for fastest lap in the race. Unless, of course, there's a safety car that comes out. Maybe that allows them back in the fight. But so far, we've seen the safety car, similar to Monaco, unlikely to come out here in Jeddah. As we see Ischik close to the leader, and the gap now is 1.4 seconds behind, as we see Lynx battling with the Aston Martin, sorry. The Alfa Romeo of Bottle just sitting behind them, and that is going to give a chance to Ischik and Fruitful to pull away out front, the top two in this race, as Ischik is going to make the move for the lead of the race. 8 laps remain after this one. Ischik leading the way once more for Red Bull Racing. Ischik, of course, the winner of round 1 this season, leads once more here. One of just 3 drivers to win so far in this season. Doing a pretty good job so far today. Looks to have some strong pace, but don't rule out Fruitful, who is also looking pretty quick today so far. That gap to Kart Racer and the lead group seems to be steadying out a little bit now. But interestingly, Lynx has reeled back into the top 2. Their battling appears to have allowed that to happen. But at the moment, the top 2 in this race are the 2 drivers, both on 1 win this season. Ischik won round 1, and Fruitful won last time out in Austria. So both drivers have seen some success this season, but it's been Kart Racer, as we said, that has taken most of it. 4 wins from round 2 to round 5. Had a bit of a spell of domination, but today looks like it is perhaps going to be a win for one of the other drivers in the field. We see some yellow flags. That does look like someone's had a problem. Is that Chazza who's had a slight issue here? Going quite slowly here. Maybe had a spin or a slide. Seems like an easy track to do such on. Yes, Ischik leading the way, and you can see this pack really closing up once more to the leaders. Ischik gonna be the leader on this occasion, but what will Fruitful try and do? Gonna stay behind once again on this lap. It's a strange situation to be in. It almost reminds me of Interlagos in a way, but sort of even more than that, in the sense that where do you want to be on the final lap? That's the real question here. DRS seems to be the crucial factor in this battle for the lead. Where do you want to be on the final lap? Do you want to be the race leader with a clear track ahead, but knowing that the car behind has DRS? And even to that point, not only do you have the straight into the final corner, you then have a DRS zone between there and the start-finish line. So it's going to be a almost strategic game between the top 2, unless DRS can be broken, which I'm sure is what Ischik is, well, I say perhaps focusing on at the moment, but I don't think you can really focus on it, you know. If you go to break that DRS, there is an 8-tenth gap at the moment, but if you go to break the DRS and you fail, you're going to lose a lot. Was Chaz's retired? Is that an on-track? No, that is in the pit lane there for the Aston Martin driver. If you go to break DRS, which has been pretty close to doing here for Ischik, but if you attempt it and fail, you're going to have a massive ERS disadvantage, which could well be the situation we now find ourselves in, as this track has made a bit of a push to break that DRS gap, and it has not been successful. Now a little bit of a deficit on ERS to second place. Lynx just about hanging on here, but not within that second. DRS will be available to Lynx though, as they went through the detection. The gap was small enough. And Lynx will stay in this battle up front for just a little bit longer. Kart Racer at a painfully small gap to the cars ahead now. Can see them so clearly, but just can't do any more than that. You can see Bottle in the distance. Can see that DRS train. Can see the cars that he wants to race with. But you can see the DRS is perhaps too low now to give Kart Racer any chance. I suppose the only hope would be Micheluzzi's AI giving some DRS to Kart Racer, as the gap now actually has dropped quite significantly, but I believe that's more from a Bottle mistake. Because Kart Racer sliding, massive slide, and it's going to narrowly miss the wall, hits it with the rear. Big mistake from Kart Racer, and for the second time goes around in this race. Really perfect time to go on board with him there, and it's going to lose more time. But again, luckily with a big gap behind, will probably still be safe. But Kart Racer's hopes at getting in to that top 5 positions looks to have been dashed as he goes once again around and just proves how tricky the streets of Jeddah are. And just pushing a little bit too hard there and was forced into pushing. Didn't have a choice. He didn't have the DRS to rely on like some of these drivers do. Had to push absolutely to the maximum. And sometimes it bites, and that's exactly what's happened there as this Chike. With a 5/10 lead on this lap. You can see that gap coming down so quickly as they go for the DRS zone. As 6 laps remain in this race. Oh, it's a bit of a slide from Mischak off the final corner. Fruitful, it's almost too tempting to go for the lead here. And Fruitful will go for the lead on this lap. Finally, Fruitful's going to make the move for the lead of the race, get up into first position. But now, crucially, gives the chance to Ischak to perhaps sit behind, play it a bit more safe, and it's a strange one, but it's not often you say this, but I mean, I suppose it is more often said in F1 esports these days, but the second place car almost has control of this race, not the race leader, because that difference that the DRS makes means that if the second place car wants to stay second, they'll just turn off their DRS, make sure they don't lose the position to third, and they can just sit in that second place, whereas the leader doesn't have any choice. The leader just has to go as quickly as they can, and if the car behind chooses to pass them, that's sort of their decision. There's not much the leader can do in terms of defending with how powerful the DRS is in these cars. So it's an interesting element to have, but Ischak now sitting second. We'll see what Ischak's plan is here. Does he want to stay in second? Is he happy staying in this sort of more controlling position, or does he want to have the clear air? Because if you're going to make mistakes, it's more likely to happen when you're following another car. Whereas if you're the leader, you'll have that clear air. You sort of less worries, but equally you've got a mirror full of a car. But the same goes for second place. If you just look behind, there's Lynx, the race leader's teammate. You know, it's a tough decision here. No driver is truly safe in this race, as has been proven so far. And Ischak, will they go for the move into the final corner? Not going to go for it here. Stays behind. Ischak staying happy in that second, but we'll see if that changes as they make their way onto the main straight. Ischak in second position, trying to make it first, and will go for first position here. Into the first corner is clear before they even get to the braking zone. Once again, just showing how powerful that DRS is. But I think these drivers will probably know better than I do. But the question is that DRS powerful enough that if you're behind coming out of the final corner, can you get the driver ahead before the start-finish line? Because if it is, your focus has got to be being second exiting the final corner. But then it comes down to getting a clean exit. So there's so many factors, but that's what just makes it so hard to call this race. But it's the race leader at the moment on lap 21 out of 25. Don't go anywhere. We are going to have one hell of a finish here between Ischak and Fruitful, 2 race winners this season. And well, we've seen it happen before the season where the leaders have issues late in the race. So if these two start to battle a little bit too hard, you can't rule out Lynx and the Aston Martin in 4th and getting involved in this battle for the win. Ischak leading the way though, and seems it's impossible to say, but seems like perhaps one of the quicker drivers at the moment. But again, you know, it's just that hard to get clear and to break that DRS. It's not going to happen for anyone realistically. You'd have to have a significant pace advantage to be able to break DRS, and you'd probably need a little bit of luck as well. You need the driver behind to make a mistake, not only you going quickly, but also the driver behind going slowly. It's so hard to break DRS here, and I think that's been proven. I think only once or twice in this race we've seen the leader manage it, and then the pit cycle happened, and quite often you'll see the pit cycle mix up the fields, but on this occasion it's put them back together, and Fruitful looks to the move but doesn't go for it into turn 1. Lynx right there as well to sort of provide rear support for the Ferrari drivers, but at the same time Lynx has got to battle for the podium here. Got to defend. Oh, there's a crash. Jake Marsh has crashed in the final sector. Similar place to Sparks. And a safety car has been deployed here. This could change a lot. Those drivers that are out on the soft tyres will have a significant pace advantage. A last-minute safety car here in Jeddah has had a big impact on the race today. And this could well change the outcome. Not going to be long after this safety car comes in. Maybe well, it's going to be probably 2 laps of racing maximum. But yes, this is... I mean, it's not going to be an easy one, but those drivers have penalties now. The punishment for that penalty is going to be so much higher. Lynx, the Aston Martin kart racer in 6th. Trasmike in 9th. And then those drivers outside the top 10 have also got a penalty. It's really going to cost them now. And yeah, that is painful for those drivers. Because they're seeing their advantages fall away. And what was looking like a nice little battle for 3rd position now becomes a nice little battle just to try and get into the points, quite frankly. The question is now, what will the leaders do? Will they pit? I mean, it's very late in the race. Tyres are going to make a huge difference, but you have to imagine if someone like Rafa or Yagazan, or even Jonah, somehow has an insane restart and can get to the lead on soft tyres compared to the medium tyres, they're going to pull away. So, it's not an easy decision for the leaders necessarily. Let's see what they will do. Fruitful. Going to move to the inside and will pit here. Ischik is going to be left out on the racetrack. Both Ferraris pit. So does Bottle. The Aston Martin stays out. Kart Racer is also going to stay out here. Give himself a better chance. Rafa stays out. Or will they? Rafa does not stay out. Rafa even pits here. That's a surprising decision, I think. These soft tyre runners perhaps in the best position just to stay out and make it work. But maybe the tyre wear was getting a little too high for them in this race. Trasmike coming in. Jonah will, of course, stay out on those brand new soft tyres. Going to gain a few positions here. Perhaps get into a strong position. But now, Ischik has a buffer. Well, 2 buffers to be precise. The Aston Martin and the McLaren both going to be separating Ischik from the first of the soft tyre runners. And Jonah does get up into 8th position here with those tyres. Yeah, it's 3 drivers ahead on penalties. That'd be a net P5 if they can hold on to this position. Yeah, the safety car here is out on lap 23 of 25 here in Jeddah. Surprising it's taken this long, really, with the tight barriers of the circuit. But the Williams of Jake Marsh retiring on lap 22, or lap 21 it may have been for him actually, at the time, has brought out our first safety car. And I will have to assume our final safety car of the day, because there is not long left in this race. All these drivers now beginning to catch up to the back of the safety car. Will it be in this lap, or will it be in next lap? The field beginning to bunch up on the safety car. Will be in this lap here. We will have 2 laps of racing left around the Saudi Arabia Jeddah circuit. Field bunching up on the whole field, with the exception of Van der Brugge, I believe that is, will be pretty much all in this group. It's going to be a straight fight to the finish. Ischik will be your leader, trying to take their 2nd win of the season here in PSGL F6. You really can't look away now. The drivers weaving their way towards the final corner. This is going to be one that will be quite unmissable. Ischik will exit the final corner, but will not go yet. It's going to probably go as late as they can here. There will be no DRS in the final stages of this race. It's too late, as Ischik will now put his foot to the floor, and the race is back to green flag. Ischik leads the way into turn 1, a small break of the slipstream. Looks like there may have been issues further back in the pack as Lynx has retired. A driver who was in such a strong position. Yagazan also retired. There's been some sort of issue at the back of the pack on this safety car restart. Multiple drivers who were on the points now drop down, but Ischik leads the way. Kart Racer in 2nd, trying to make something work here. As you see a battle, Fruitful is going to sweep past the Aston Martin there in a beautiful overtake manoeuvre. Fruitful up into 3rd position, trying to gain some time here on the top 2. This is going to be one hell of a hunt if Fruitful can make this charge back to the lead work. Ischik leading the way, but with a 9/10 gap behind. It won't matter now, DRS. We will not see DRS again in this race. There's not enough time for it to be re-enabled. It is going to be a straight fight of speed here in the streets of Saudi Arabia. But contact with the wall for Fruitful. Could that potentially damage the Ferrari driver's wing? Now going to have to try and speed their way through the streets. Look at Kart Racer 1 second back from the race leader. Did Fruitful break their wing? We're going to get our first real chance at seeing that now. As they go in to this part of the lap, and Fruitful does look to be losing time. Fruitful, I believe, has broken their wing at a crucial point of the race. Has made a mistake now, and will be dropping back down the order. Bottle now will surely be the driver to take over this charge, but with just one lap and a corner to go, it is looking like Strike's a race to lose as they're stacking up almost into the final corner of the penultimate lap of this race. Fruitful does gain a little bit of time back there on the straight, but is that because it was a straight? Did they use more ERS? Because they did use all of their deployment there. Was that an ERS issue? Or not an ERS issue, but was that an ERS usage that allowed Fruitful to catch up? Or is it wing damage really on that Ferrari car? Let's wait and see here. Fruitful on the charge to take this win here in PSGL is battling further down the field. We see multiple, massive contact there. The Aston Martin are around into the barriers, and they're going to have a tough time to get that car back going, and they may still get a point in this race. As Michelizzi is a lap down here, but the battle for the lead is still going on, and Fruitful continues to lose time. It does seem to be that there is wing damage on the Ferrari, the soft tyres holding them in that third position, but that is a struggle for the Ferrari driver of Fruitful. But now Bottle all over the back of them, looking to try and take that net second place away. This has been a crazy final few laps here in Jeddah. Who would have seen this one coming? It was looking like a straight fight between Ischike and Fruitful. A safety car has intervened, and Ischike has found themselves at the front of the pack. They made the correct strategic decision. They put themselves as the leader. They had a nice little gap between them and the soft runners, and in pushing to try and close that gap, Fruitful made a crucial error, which has given Ischike the lead of the race, and a gap that he looks like he will not be giving up here. 8 tenths is the gap to second. Kart Racer with a penalty can't do anything even if he got close enough. Ischike will exit the final corner for the final time here in Jeddah. It's the Red Bull driver, Ischike, for the second time this season, who wins in PSGL F6. It's Bottle who will just about take second, with Fruitful taking up the final spot on the podium. Rafa in fourth. Kart Racer drops down to fifth for his new worst finish of the season, but still fifth. Not a bad result considering what it could well have been. Jonah on those soft tyres up in sixth. Yarrow in seventh. The Aston Martin in eighth. Van der Brugge in at ninth, for Trasmike in 10th position there. Lots of drivers having some issues late in this race, but they are your top 10 here in Jeddah. I hope you enjoyed that finish. Ischike really showed some speed come at the end of this race. And, well, it looked easy from an offboard there, that little gap he had to Kart Racer, but I'm sure it wasn't. Those medium tyres, whilst they wouldn't have been struggling too badly compared to those soft tyres, would just not have been on the same level. Not at all here. I do believe we have some sort of timing glitch here with the McLaren of DRA Mitch. So apologies, may not get the chance to see the podium celebrations, which would be a shame, because I'm sure it's going to be very happy after that race. Bottle in second position there with a strong drive. And yes, Ischike is your 7th winner. I say 7th winner as in a winner of round 7 rather than the 7th different winner. That would be quite the season. Very 2012 vibes if that was the case, sadly not. But yes, it is indeed Ischike who wins here, and I do believe that it's not looking like it's going to fix. So may just have to end the stream here with the car still lapping the circuit. But Ischike with the win. Let's have a look at Bottle's previous best finish. Let's just try and find them here. Bottle's previous best finish, I believe, was a P8, so I could be wrong there, but I believe was a P8. So yeah, it's a strong drive, and I think it was a P6. Give me a moment. No, it was a P8 indeed. So Bottle's previous best finish was a P8, and now today will take home a P2. I'm sure Bottle will be very happy with that. Maybe with a bit more luck could have been in the fight for the win, but nonetheless I'm sure they will be overjoyed with their first podium of the season. Fruitful, whilst it may not have been the win that they were hoping for, still some points over Kart Racer and another podium to their name, so could perhaps start to ride this wave of form. Yes, that is it for PSGL F6 here in Jeddah. I hope you will enjoy it. Again, apologies for the delays for the start of the stream, missing qualifying, missing the start. it was filled with issues, sadly. But yes, it was when we finally managed to get this stream going, it was a great race to watch. So it's all changing on the screen now. Those DNF now showing in the pit lane, so plenty of lobby perhaps glitches going on. But that was it now for PSGL F6 here in Jeddah. Next week we'll be at Spa, so make sure you tune in for all of PSGL's tiers then. But until then, goodbye.